Jack London's The Call of the Wild, 1903, is a compelling and symbolic adventure novel that tells the story of Buck, a domesticated dog who is thrust into the brutal wilderness of the Yukon during the Klondike Gold Rush. As Buck adapts to the harsh realities of life in the wild, he gradually sheds the trappings of civilization and reclaims his primal instincts. London's novel explores Darwinian survival, the tension between nature and nurture, primitivism, and the call of instinct. Although often considered a children's book due to its canine protagonist, The Call of the Wild is a powerful allegorical tale that deals with profound philosophical and existential questions. It is a novel of transformation, not just of place but of identity, as Buck evolves from a pampered pet into a feral leader of the wild. 1. From comfort to captivity. The novel begins in sunny California, where Buck, a large and powerful Saint Bernard Scotch Collie mix, lives a comfortable life as the pet of Judge Miller. Buck is the undisputed aristocrat of his domain, enjoying status, affection, and freedom. But Buck's idyllic life changes when Manuel, a gardener in need of money, steals Buck and sells him to dog traders. Buck is shipped north via train and boat, beaten into submission with a club by a man known as the Man in the Red Sweater, and learns his first lesson. A man with a club was a lawgiver, a master to be obeyed. This initiates his harsh indoctrination into the law of survival of the fittest. Buck is sold into the brutal world of sled dogs in the Yukon Territory. He is bought by Perrault and Francois, two French-Canadian mail carriers, who recognize his strength and intelligence. 2. Learning the laws of the North. Under the guidance of Perrault and Francois, Buck adapts quickly to the frozen North and learns the art of sled pulling, fighting, and living under extreme conditions. He learns from other dogs, especially Spitz, the lead dog, who is cunning and cruel. Eventually, Buck and Spitz clash in a dramatic fight for leadership. Buck kills Spitz and takes his place as the lead dog. This marks a crucial moment in his transformation, a rejection of submission and a step toward primal dominance. The harsh conditions, the constant struggle for food, and the danger of predators force Buck to awaken ancestral instincts. He begins having dreams of an ancient, hairy man around a fire, symbolizing his regression to a more primitive state. 3. A world of brutality and madness. Buck's team is passed from one owner to another, each time facing increasing hardships. One of the most tragic phases is under the ownership of Hal, Charles, and Mercedes, three inept and cruel adventurers who abuse the dogs and ignore all advice. Their incompetence leads to the dogs' starvation, exhaustion, and death. Buck, near collapse, is saved by a kind and experienced frontiersman named John Thornton. Hal, Charles, and Mercedes continue on a perilous journey, ignoring warnings of thawing ice, and eventually perish when their sled falls through the ice. Buck's rescue from this doom is symbolic of his crossing a moral boundary, saved not only from physical death but from meaningless suffering. 4. A bond with John Thornton. With John Thornton, Buck experiences genuine affection and loyalty. Thornton treats Buck not as a beast of burden, but as a companion. Buck performs heroic acts for Thornton, including saving him from drowning and winning a bet by pulling a 1,000-pound sled. Yet even as Buck grows attached to Thornton, he feels an increasing pull toward the wild. He begins to roam the forest, hunting and communing with wolves. He is caught between two worlds, one of love and loyalty to a man, and one of instinct and wild freedom. 5. The final call. The turning point comes when Buck returns from a trip in the forest to find that Thornton and his group have been killed by a group of Yeehat Indians. Enraged, Buck slaughters several of the attackers and avenges Thornton's death. But with Thornton gone, the last tether to civilization is broken. Buck answers the call of the wild completely. He joins a wolf pack, eventually becoming its leader. He is now a legendary ghost dog of the North, feared by the natives and respected by the wild. His transformation from domesticated pet to wild creature is complete. Character analysis. Buck. Buck is both a character and a symbol. At the beginning of the novel, he is a privileged pet, unaware of hardship. As he is exposed to the brutal laws of the wilderness, he undergoes a profound transformation, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. His journey reflects themes of primitivism, adaptation, and self-realization. Buck's internal conflict, between loyalty to John Thornton and his growing instinctual desires, serves as the emotional core of the novel. His eventual surrender to the wild represents a return to an authentic state of being, liberated from the constraints of human society. John Thornton. Thornton is the only human character portrayed with genuine warmth and compassion. He represents natural goodness in contrast to the cruelty of Buck's previous owners. Thornton's bond with Buck is built on mutual respect and affection rather than dominance or utility. Yet, Thornton also symbolizes a transitional figure, someone who delays but cannot ultimately prevent Buck's return to the wild. His death marks the final severing of Buck's ties to humanity. Spitz. Spitz is Buck's rival and the embodiment of brutal Darwinian competition. He is intelligent and ruthless but lacks Buck's adaptability and depth. His defeat symbolizes Buck's rise as the new alpha and signals the beginning of his transformation into a wild creature. Hal, Charles, and Mercedes. These three symbolize the ignorance and arrogance of civilization. They are unprepared for the realities of the wild and treat the dogs with cruelty and incompetence. Their tragic demise is a critique of human folly and the dangers of imposing civilized expectations on the natural world. Major themes. 1. The struggle for survival and the law of club and fang. Survival is a central theme. Buck must unlearn his domesticated habits and learn the brutal laws of the wild. The law of club and fang governs life in the north. The club represents human dominance and violence. The fang represents the animal's instinct to fight and defend. London illustrates a Darwinian worldview, where only the adaptable and strong survive. Buck's transformation is not just about strength but about learning to think, fight, and lead. 2. Civilization versus the wild. Buck's journey is a symbolic exploration of the tension between civilization and nature. Initially a product of human society, Buck is tamed, soft, and dependent. In the wild, he rediscovers freedom and instinctual knowledge. Jack London suggests that civilization represses the primal self, and that true strength and authenticity lie in nature. The wild, though cruel, is honest, while civilization can be hypocritical and corrupt. 3. Primitivism and the ancestral call. The call of the wild is both literal and metaphorical. It represents the pull of ancestral memory, a return to a purer and more instinctual existence. Buck dreams of a primitive man, suggesting that the wild resides in all creatures, even those long removed from it. Buck's transformation is not a loss but a reclamation of identity. In shedding the trappings of domestication, he becomes more whole and alive. 4. Loyalty and love. Despite its emphasis on survival and savagery, the novel also celebrates love and loyalty, particularly between Buck and John Thornton. Buck's acts of devotion are deeply emotional and elevate him beyond a mere beast. Yet London complicates this theme. Buck's loyalty cannot ultimately override the deeper pull of instinct. The love between man and beast is powerful, but it is not eternal in the face of nature's calling. 5. Transformation and identity. Buck undergoes a hero's journey, from innocence to experience, from enslavement to freedom, from civilization to wildness. His character arc is a complete metamorphosis, showing how environment and hardship reshape identity. The novel poses profound questions. Who are we beneath our training and culture? What lies dormant in our nature? What must be lost to truly live? Narrative style and technique. Jack London uses a third-person limited omniscient narrator, mostly aligned with Buck's perspective. This allows readers to experience the world through Buck's eyes, thoughts, and instincts, blurring the line between human and animal consciousness. London's prose is muscular, vivid, and sensory-driven, capturing the harshness of the Yukon landscape and the brutality of sled life. At the same time, he imbues the novel with lyrical reflections on identity and transformation. Despite being an animal protagonist, Buck is deeply humanized. His emotions, memories, and dreams are rendered with psychological depth, making him a symbolic everyman figure. Symbols and motifs. 1. The club. The man with the red sweater and his club symbolize domination through violence. The club is the first and most essential lesson Buck learns about power and obedience. It becomes a recurring symbol of human authority over animals. 2. The fire and the hairy man. Buck's visions of the hairy man sitting by fire represent ancestral memory and atavism, the reawakening of primitive instincts. The fire is both comfort and danger, symbolizing the duality of human progress, warmth and control, but also separation from nature. 3. The sled. The sled represents burden, labor, and discipline. As Buck pulls the sled under different masters, it becomes a metaphor for his shifting identity, from slave to leader, from tool to free creature. Historical and literary context. The Call of the Wild is rooted in the naturalist literary movement, which portrays human and animal life as shaped by environment, heredity, and instinct. Influenced by Charles Darwin, Herbert Spencer, and Nietzsche, Jack London saw nature as a crucible that tested character and revealed truth. Set against the backdrop of the Klondike Gold Rush, the novel also critiques the blind greed and ambition of those who enter the wild unprepared. London, who himself ventured to the Yukon, writes with first-hand experience of its brutal conditions. The novel also reflects turn-of-the-century anxieties about industrialization, masculinity, and the loss of connection to nature. In a rapidly modernizing world, Buck's return to the wild is a symbolic act of resistance against dehumanizing forces. Critical reception and legacy. Upon publication, The Call of the Wild was both commercially successful and critically acclaimed. Though initially seen as an adventure story, its deeper themes have made it a staple of American literature. Critics have debated its genre. Is it a children's book? A philosophical allegory? A survival tale? A critique of civilization? Buck has become one of literature's most enduring animal protagonists, and the novel continues to resonate with readers for its exploration of transformation, nature, and freedom. Conclusion. Jack London's The Call of the Wild is more than an animal adventure. It is a profound meditation on identity, instinct, survival, and transformation. Through Buck's journey from pampered pet to wild legend, London explores what it means to find one's place in the world, not by clinging to comfort, but by confronting the raw truths of nature. It is a story that speaks to the primal heart within all creatures, a reminder that beneath our civilization lies something older, stronger, and truer waiting to answer the call.